Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today, guys, another watch for the collection, and that is the Addiesdive Sumo Homage. Absolutely stunning. Gentlemen, you guys know I like all different kind of watches, and if you've watched the channel before, of course, you know I'll always have a fondness for Invicta watches, but that doesn't mean I don't like to get new stuff on the channel. Of course, naturally, Addiesdive did sponsor this video, which is absolutely fantastic, super generous of them, and the cool thing about that is, you know, unless we're filthy rich, we can't buy every single watch on the planet. There's a lot of watches that I just won't, add to my collection because I have a lot of watches maybe like that watch, or it doesn't really, really ring out to me like, let's say, brand new Aragon with the pink face, that limited they just came out with. I missed out on getting that. So it just depends, sometimes, unless, like I said, unless you're filthy rich, there's, you can't buy every single thing you see, though we wish we could, or don't want to, I mean, like I said, guys, when I review watches, when I have watches on the channel for something I bought or received as an agreement deal, as a sponsorship, regardless, it's exciting for me because I love getting another watch in my collection. And when I get watches, generally, of all the watches that I've received and watches that I wear, regularly, I find myself really gravitating towards my Invicta, my Aragons, and then when I'm not looking to wear something really big and flashy, I gravitate towards stuff like this, Addiesdive. What else? Brands like Steel Dive. I love that dive style watch. Whether it be a Rolex Homage, and you guys know how I feel about Rolex. I think it's a ripoff, right? That doesn't mean that I don't like the watch. It doesn't mean I don't think it's a good looking watch. It's a basic watch. It's a simple watch. I'm much more inclined to roll towards like a Doxa vintage style watch, an Aquadive, over a Rolex Submariner any day of the week. But that doesn't mean I don't like the brand. That doesn't mean I don't like the Homage watches. And these companies coming out there like Addiesdive, you get incredible value where, I can understand how companies like Seiko, and that's what this is, a homage to a Seiko Sumo, how they must be like, geez, how do you keep up? So it really makes these companies kind of stay on their toes to create new designs. If you look at companies like Bulova is always kind of changing their styling. And you don't see a lot of replica or homage Bulova watches, just like the Doxa took forever. So I like the fact that Addiesdive does, make homage watches or copies of their expensive counterparts. It's great because, when we really look at it, when we look at the actual build, there's really no reason to spend $900 on a Seiko Sumo when you can get this for $160. Of course, there are going to be differences, very subtle differences, things that you really aren't going to notice with the naked eye. The only thing that is really measurable, like for instance, I believe the Seiko Sumo has a 70-hour power reserve, has a different Seiko automatic movement. This has the Seiko NH35. Again, a super reliable, very robust automatic movement that's going to give you years, if not a lifetime, full of great use. So, again, I will never, whether you like my content or you like me or the watch I review, I will never spend a ton of money on a watch. There are just too many options out there that give you an incredible value and give you performance that's, on par with a lot of these other companies that you're going to spend thousands of dollars for. Why bother? Why would you buy the Seiko? The only reason you'd buy a Seiko is because you ultimately want that name on your wrist. You want the Seiko, that you want that watch so people can say, when you point it out and they say, what did that cost? You can say, oh, I spent $900 on it. That's the only rational reason I could see for spending a lot of money on a watch is so you can brag about it when somebody notices it, if they notice it, or you want to brag about it and tell people about it. I just don't see the point because you're getting so much watch for your money. This is not on par with the genuine Seiko Sumo. It's incredible. So let's check it out. So they've modeled obviously the case exactly like the Sumo. If you look at pictures of the Sumo, you can see the how close it is. I've seen a lot of guys reviewing these on YouTube, comparing them side by side. They're awfully close. Again, not saying there aren't some kind of differences that we can find, we can really nitpick, but ultimately at the end of the day, this is a very similar watch. Let me take it off so I can show you some more close-ups here. Also, guys, I got the ring light today. I'm going to be using this in every single video. I want you guys to just comment and let me know what you think of how it looks. I'm going to do this and mention this in several of my videos next couple weeks. I just want to see how you guys think about whether it's a lot easier to see. Is it more enjoyable to watch? Right now, I have the ring light on more of a cool Kelvin temperature. Not max brightness, but pretty bright. Definitely brighter than not having it. So let me know what you guys think. I'm really curious. So let's take a look. So the side case here is absolutely beautiful. I love the fact that they have, you know, this interesting kind of fluted or chiseled in. I really kind of consider this like a vintage style dive case. I kind of find this similar to like your Captain Willard style, your steel dive homage to that watch. I like how it chisels down to the back of the case. It is a screw-on case back with the Addiesdive logo. And of course, I like the fact that the case comes up real high in the sides, and it kind of has the bezel, which is kind of recessed into the case on the sides. Really cool, and it's exposed at the top of the lugs. I like the fact in this watch it's not your standard, you know, band you see on a lot of watches. Let's face it, a lot of the watches out there that are homage, you have your you know, oyster style bracelet. Again, not hating on that at all. I think it's a great looking bracelet, but it's very clean, very basic. I like the fact that Seiko did do something different, and Addiesdive, of course, copied that. Just a regular stamp clasp. I'm not sure if the Seiko Sumo actually has a milled clasp. People always use these little things to you know, kind of, I guess, over embellish quality. There's nothing different. There's nothing like better about a milled clasp versus stamped clasp, other than the fact that it might look a little nicer. When you have the watch on the wrist, you don't see this, so I just don't see the point. It's not really worth mentioning, even though I just didn't mention it. Another thing about this watch, they don't have a lot of branding on it. So you have the Addiesdive logo on the face of the watch. You don't have anything on the sides. You have it on the back. And they didn't even put it on the clasp, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if this did come directly through Amazon. So I don't know if that's just something that maybe these were watches that, you know, I don't know if all the Addiesdive watches don't have the branding on the clasp. It's really one of the few watches I've ever seen that doesn't have branding on the clasp. Again, not a big deal at all. I don't nitpick watches. If it said Addiesdive on the side of the case, over branding to me doesn't really, you know, that's not really over branding. Like, people nitpick the Invictus because they have one extra Invicta on the side of the case. And they're talking about, oh, maybe I could polish it out. It's like, dude, it's a $60 watch. It's an $80 watch. Like, what are you worried? Don't buy it. Buy something else. Like, oh, you know, crying about it's over branding. I just think it's ridiculous. So Addiesdive really went under branded, and they only have it on the face and the back. This is a stunning watch. I mean, Addiesdive, when they reached out, or when I reached out to them and they, you know, we collaborated, I'm really glad that they said, hey, we'll send you this specific model, because this is the one I was going to choose. They do have the steel dive, or not the steel dive, the Captain Willard homage watch. They do have a couple other homage watches. They're all really nice. Not a lot of color combinations, so I do like that this one, they kind of went outside the box a little bit. What I like is that the face on this is really pretty. So you have this royal blue, and it's not just royal blue, and this is something I really like with a colored case. You know, rather than a black or white. I've even seen it done on like a black face as well, or a white face watch. With this particular color, they didn't just go with blue all the way out to the edge of the bezel. It's kind of a gradient, so it goes from like black and fades right into blue. And this is meant to look like the bottom of the ocean. And I don't know if you can see by the video, hopefully you can see that, just real subtle, there are sharks. It's like kind of a slight shadow of 4 sharks swimming under the ocean, or under the surface of the water. So really cool. I love the way this looks. It's a really rich oceanic blue. I think honestly it's like the best blue that I've seen on a lot of watches, and I really like the fact that they put the sharks underneath there. It's subtle. You don't even really notice it unless somebody were to point it out to you, but when you do, pretty cool. I mean, nobody's gonna notice that. I had to point it out to my mom, and she's like, I still can't see it, but it's very subtle. Very cool addition. The other thing I really like about this is that if you get a side shot here, the bezel kind of flutes at an angle towards the, I'm not sure what the degree is, towards the case. So it's not just a square, round bezel. It's got a little bit of an angle there which kind of flutes out. It does have kind of a gear-edged sides, which, you know, is pretty easy to turn. Again, for me, I very rarely, the only time I turn the bezel on a watch is when I'm just going to time it to like cook a pizza, you know. So, but you know, because I don't dive or anything like that. But I do love the way the bezel looks on this. And what's really clean about this is that there's no curve to the bezel. It is just flat right across the face, right into that sapphire crystal. Really cool because it takes on this super glossy look, which I have to tell you, compared to all the watches I have, you know, Aquadive, the Sterlings, the Invicta Pro Divers, the Neimars, this has got a very unique face. When you look at this watch, there is just something, like, it almost looks wet, like wet paint. It's super glossy. It has just like a candy, like, richness to it. Beautiful watch. I love the bezel on this. What else? Again, you have mirror polishing on the sides of the case. They did kind of a combination where you had mirror polishing down the side and then a brush finish down like the very center. You know, and you can look at more pictures of this. I'm not going to pinpoint every single thing about the watch, but ultimately it is a fantastic watch. Love it. So let's talk about specifics though. Let me move my screen over here and tell you guys, you know, the basic stuff. And what I know I mentioned all this stuff in every single video. Some of you probably don't even watch to the end, but you know, keep in mind, you can always click the link in description. There's probably pop-ups happening in the, I think, the upper right-hand corner if you're looking at your screen where you can pick this up. I'm going to put the recommended places to buy this. Now, this watch can be had all over the internet. You can find this on the Addiesdive website. You can find it on Amazon, eBay. You can find it on AliExpress. I don't know about DHgate. Downside to ordering on like AliExpress is just the turnaround time. You're gonna wait like at least 2 to 3 weeks for it. I'm pretty impatient. The other thing about, you know, with that is if by some chance, I can't imagine you would get this and not like it, but if you did, you know, returning it's a little bit of a hassle. I really tend to buy from Amazon. I like their return policy. If you do have any problems, it's very easy to be taken care of, and to me, I think it's worth spending a little bit more, right? But that's up to you. I will put the link to each place in the description. Wherever you want to buy it, buy where you feel comfortable. They say waterproof. They shouldn't. It's water resistant. No watch is waterproof, to the best of my knowledge. 20 ATMs of water resistance, 200 meters and 656 feet. There is no helium release valve on this, but that's, you know, I've already, as soon as I get this watch, I know they say you're not supposed to take watches in the shower due to the heat, but, you know, I use my watches. I wear my watches. That's what I do. I get in the hot tub. I get in a pool. I go swimming, that kind of stuff. I get in the shower, the jet tub, whatever. So I want the watch to function. Now, again, if it seals proper, you know, if it's working properly and it's sealed, I don't personally think you'll have any problems with anything like that. Remember, when you're wearing a watch, you know, there is a little bit element of protection, especially in the shower when it's against your wrist. Not all, you know, it's not like you're submersing it. You know, you're not holding it under the water for too long. I think if a watch were to have an issue in the shower, you know, again, I'm sure, you know, other people will disagree with me on that, but I think a watch should be able to hold up in a shower. Now, I think that if you heat a watch too much and cause that seal to either expand or contract, you might have a problem. But here's the way my mind works: is if you're wearing your watch on your wrist on a super hot sunny day with a black face watch, that watch is getting probably hotter outside than you know, you hopping in a shower or a hot tub. So, you know, a shower and a hot tub really gets about 104 degrees. So I just don't see that as being an issue. Again, wear them how you like, but I did put this in the shower, test it. It's kind of what I do with my watches. That's real world use for me. That's more important to me than going swimming with it, you know, because that's where I'm in the shower. I wear my watch, you know. Again, I take it off sometimes, don't get me wrong, but you guys get what I'm saying. It is 316L stainless steel. That's pretty standard across the board. Any watch made of 316L is, I mean, you don't need anything more. You don't need 904. You don't need anything else but stainless steel. Gold's pretty cool, but gold's really, you're getting gold more for a look, right? 44.5 millimeter case diameter, so it's a little bit larger watch than your standard, like, you know, Seikos, or I shouldn't say Seikos, but like your standard, you know, most watches, we kind of consider the average size watch is like the 41, 42. I really don't go under 41. I'm not saying I wouldn't wear something under, but for me, I think that's the perfect size, and then you go into the oversized stuff, you know. So if you get anything under 41, I just feel like it's so small, why bother, you know. But again, that to each their own. 24 jewel NH35 movement, 41 hours of power reserve, 42.5 millimeters lug to lug, 20 millimeter bandwidth, 14.5 millimeter case thickness. So not a, you know, a real thin watch, but I mean, not, you know, not like your Invictas or anything like that. And it says here just on the special design, it says blue water ripples dials with whale sharks swimming in the sea. Super bright, super luminova, or should I say super luminous Swiss BGW9. Now I have to tell you guys, you know, when it comes to like the Invictas and the Aragons, depending on which Aragon, a lot of watches by Invicta, their bloom is terrible. Aragon, kind of hit or miss. If we're looking at ones that have like, you know, your tritium tubes, that's a different ball game. But your standard, you know, like just give you an example, like your mirror millipedes, right? watches like that. The Lume on those has that kind of greenish, glow in the dark kind of look. I always consider it like an 80s glow in the dark look. It's not my favorite. Again, I don't dislike it. I love the Lume on this. It's a bright white indices on these. They're not colored at all. They don't have like a green tint or anything or off-white. They're a nice bright white. I mean, you might think they might have a little bit of an off-white hint to them, maybe pearlish, but you know, they're not like, they don't have that green look. Lume on this is incredible. Just like my steel dive watch, just like my aqua dive watch, the BGW9 is fantastic. I shit you not, I put this on the other day. I have this big LED flashlight right before bed. I'll charge it up for about 10 seconds, move it away, and the thing is just glowing, right? What's really interesting, of course, naturally these things, you know, throughout the night they dim down. I'm telling you, after 7 hours, right, I could still see this just faintly glowing. So pretty incredible. I don't know if it's picking up a little bit of ambient light and keeping a charge. I'm not really sure, but the Lume on this is incredible. And to me, it is on par with my $2,000 aqua dive watch. I think with any watch in that price range, a lot of times the Lume gets better. Again, depending on the brand manufacturer. But Lume on this is fantastic. You'll love the light show. It's so cool. And this is, again, something that the steel dive watch I have, if you're familiar with that brand, very impressive. This watch is super impressive, and it is beautiful at night when it's glowing. So overall, I love the watch. It is fantastic. It's a great watch for the collection. I really want to thank Addiesdive again. It is really flattering that companies, when I just reach out and ask, that they will, not all the time, but you know, they will send me a free watch to share with you guys. And it's great because all the other stuff is cool, smart home tech, speakers, yeah, that's all great. But my passion is really like collecting watches. I love getting a new watch, be able to wear it, show it off. I mean, it's the coolest thing. Now, again, remember, Invicta lovers, a watch like this, when you wear it, it's not going to draw, tons of attention. It's a more subtle watch, but it's so universal. I mean, you can wear this with a suit, you can wear this with jeans, you can wear this with nothing, right? I mean, get down, baby. This watch is just, it adapts to everything. There's no special occasion. It's just a clean watch, and I wore this last night with some blue jeans and a blue sweater, and I just kept looking down and saying, man, it's a beautiful piece. I hope that Addiesdive continues with this theme. This is the only watch they have with this special design face. Sometimes design faces can be a little bit over the top. I like that this is very subtle. I would like to see something more like this, more themed stuff, maybe with like a nice aqua, maybe kind of, ocean colors, like, if you go like the Caribbean, you have like that kind of aqua, blue, maybe, something swimming under the surface that might be part of that, natural habitat. I don't know, I just think it's pretty cool. I think this is a real winner. It's gorgeous. So what's interesting about this too, it actually says Deep Sea Hunter. No confusion with Invicta. But I love everything about it. It's just the name's good. The design is good. They really knocked it out of the park with, mimicking the Seiko Sumo. Price is good. I mean, anytime you're in that $100 to $160 price range, or even under 200. As we start to get to 200, I'm like, I like to stay in that like 150 and under. It is an incredible value. And if you've ever checked out the Invictas or the Aragons or Boulevard or Movado, any of those watches, Pagani design, this watch is on par with all those brands. The quality is exceptional. And if you are kind of a spec person and you're like, oh, I need to have sapphire crystal, it has that, right? Yeah, synthetic sapphire crystal. It has to have ceramic, but it has a ceramic bezel. So all those little like check boxes, a lot of watch guys, and I don't want to say snobs, just a lot of people who, are into watches. Well, you could be a snob, you could be, normal, nice person too. Those are kind of the boxes a lot of guys who, check when they're looking for watches. If they don't have that, then they're not interested. What kind of movement does it have? Is it automatic? Is it quartz? This watch really does check all those kind of basic boxes when it comes to a good quality watch, and I can relate a little bit when it comes to the automatic movement is something that I always will gravitate towards. I would much rather a really shitty automatic movement than a nice quartz. you know, I don't know what it is. I just really like the mechanics behind the automatic movements. But this, you're getting the Seiko H35. You really can't lose the quality. So now let me just shut up for a second. Show you guys what it looks like on the wrist. You know, you guys have seen little sneak peeks of this while I'm talking. 7-inch wrist, 78 pounds today, 5'7.5". So again, 42.5 millimeter watch is definitely not a small watch by any means, but you know, of course, you know, if you're used to the oversized stuff, you might think it's small, but it's really not. I mean, it's just a stunning piece. And I think that if you are in the market for getting something that's, you know, for my Invicta lovers, if you are in the market for something that's, you know, you're like, yeah, you know, I want to get something, you know, a little bit smaller for lounge around the house, not as big. You know, who knows? I don't know what your situation is, but I definitely check this one out and consider it. It's, you know, it's pretty cool. And again, I find myself most of the time when I'm just kind of, you know, lounging around, working at my desk, you know, hanging out, watching a movie, whatever, hanging out with the folks. You know, I find that I gravitate more towards the smaller watches. Again, that doesn't mean I don't have a great place in my heart for the Invictas. I'll still wear them. I still do wear them. But, you know, these are very universal, you know. And I think that this is definitely something you should add to your collection. The other thing, too, is a lot of times, you know, when I'm looking for another watch to buy, you know, I have so many of the Invictas and the big watches that it's nice to have that variety. In addition, you know, yeah, the Pro Diver is great. Invicta has a lot of smaller watches and a lot of variety as well, but I don't always want to have the same brand. I want to have different brands, different things, look at the different quality if there is any with these watches. So I definitely am really glad. I've been wanting an Addiesdive watch for a while, and I really hope I get to collaborate with them again because they do have other watches. They have a beautiful bronze watch. That's Captain Willard style. I encourage you to check that out as well. I just wish maybe they would do a bronze strap on it. But again, amazing company, amazing customer service. Again, when I talk about companies, you know, how quick do they respond to emails? They were like within a couple days. So that says a lot about how their company's structured. And I know if you email a company and you don't hear back from like 2 months, I've had companies that don't reach back to me for a year. Right? You know, what if you have a problem with a watch? What if you have an issue or a question? You know, I love the fact that it was instant, and that means a lot, and I think that this is definitely a company you should check out. Addiesdive. Let me know what you guys think. Drop me a comment. Drop me an email. I'm always here to help you guys. Should you need a little bit of you know, a little bit extra information, or maybe you need a little push, or you got something you're confused about, or whatever it is, you know, I'm always here to help you guys. I do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. If you oh, one more thing. Forgot to show you the box. So a lot of these, after the fact, a lot of these companies like the Steel Dive, Addiesdive, a few other brands, they come in this standard kind of basic dive style case. You know what I like about these? I like the fact, what I don't like is they're a little bit, I don't have, it's hard for me to get in there. I don't really have nails, so, you know, basic kind of weatherproof, sort of weatherproof. This is a seal, weather resistant box. Got your foam inside, your paperwork, you know, nothing really. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. They do give you a, you know, most of the stuff I ends up in the attic anyway, but instruction manual, which I don't see why you would even need that. You know, these are pretty straightforward. Screw down crown, date adjustment, and time adjustment. What I do like about these boxes is they don't take up a lot of room, and they are dual purpose. You know, if I want to, I'll usually put like, I mean, if you don't want to store your watch in it, which I don't, but you could put little things in here. Probably not a cell phone, but if you had a small cell phone, you'd probably put this in here. Great for going on the boat, you know, if you're going to be out, you know, on a beach, you know, sand, that kind of stuff. Put little valuables in there, little trinkets, whatever. I think it is a pretty cool case. You know, and this is something you'll see in a lot of different brands coming out of China. So check them out, guys. They do have a couple little ties on here, little eyelets. So if you wanted to, I don't know, maybe put this on, hangs from a backpack, or wear it around your, I don't know. I'm not sure what the point of that is, but I do like this. I'll take a box, I guess, over that gigantic yellow cardboard Invicta box they give you any day of the week. And, you know, I know Invicta has their dive case, but they just take up a lot of room. So these are great. Tuck them away, piece of cake. So I don't know if that means anything to you, but, you know, worth mentioning. So anyway, guys, happy weekend. Drop me a comment, drop me an email, subscribe to the channel. As always, guys, have a wonderful day, and take care.